and just talk a little bit about the local insight. So, Brandy, back to you. You've mentioned that one of the reasons you wanted to start your own business was the legality issues, and that there were a lot of people and a lot of other companies who were, kind of doing it outside the, let's say, legal aspect. Were there any
Yeah.
other sort of things that were missing in this local community that made you, come up with the ideal of the loyal transportation?
Well, it was dangerous, as a previously single mother before I had met my now husband. I had to take these illicit speedies because I couldn't afford an Uber. I couldn't afford taxi. I, for whatever circumstances had befallen me, didn't have a car, and I had two little kids. So, we would take chances and we would call these people, which was just essentially a phone number that would send somebody in the community to pick you up at your personal home address. And because they weren't vetted, and because anybody could get a job by saying, I need a job, and now their number is getting distributed your address, it was extremely dangerous. I got in a lot of dangerous circumstances that was simply because I was poor. Because I didn't have access and because there wasn't any answers. So for me, it was like I wanted to have an answer to this speedy problem that we are just going to have to use this. The transit didn't make it to Bartlett Street and Thorold South.
Wow.
Thorold South was cut off from all of the other cities. I couldn't get food in Thorold South. I needed to go traveling on a road with no sidewalks through a tunnel for miles with little children or get a speedy cab. So, I mean, it wasn't that the options were there for people like me. These were the options for everyone. And that's why people were making this illicit underground speedy, is that they were solving the problem for themselves that the people that be and where our taxes go had not resolved it, not with transit or anything, for a long period of time. I'm talking speedy right now still operates in Niagara, Ontario, Canada, even while legal ones exist. And it's been in operation for 30 years.
Oh,
30.
wow.
So there was a problem long before I came along. I just thought I could do it better. I saw that there was an idea here. It seemed like they were just missing a piece, which might be somebody very annoying and controlling, going into meetings and saying, sitting in and learning and going, you know what, I have something to say at the next meeting. And I did. And it
Oh,
made a
wow.
difference. They were looking for a way to combat Uber anyways. The police that were handling licensing were having fights with taxi all the time, and they didn't want Uber there. And so I came in like, well, hold on. What if we're like a more respectful Uber? Like, we won't go do the things that were upsetting them. And they were mad that it was like unlimited licenses when they have to pay for their license, which is valid. So we said we'd have a cap on it, on how many companies or how many drivers, and we wouldn't flood the market. So, mutual respect would have solved it, but nobody came to the table to have a solution. Everybody just yelled at each other for years.